Hello and a very good evening to all our viewers who are watching me in this live interaction on News9's Facebook as well as YouTube page. Now, as we all know, even as the world is awaiting for a safe and also an efficient COVID-19 vaccine, researchers are also focusing on better understanding on how SARS CoV2 attacks the human body so that they can look for other means of stopping its devastating impact. Now, the key to one possibility is blocking a protein that enables the virus to turn the immune system against the healthy cells. And this has been identified in a recent study by a team from Johns Hopkins Medicine researchers. So the researchers believe that inhibiting the protein known as the factor D will also help in curtailing the potentially deadly inflammatory reactions that many patients have when the virus infects them. So the scientists have already known that the spike proteins on the surface of coronavirus are, the means by which it attaches itself to the cells targeted for infection. And to do this, the spikes first grab hold of the heparin sulfate, which is a large and complex sugar molecule found on the surface of cells in lungs, blood vessels, and also smooth muscles, making up most of the organs. Now, facilitated by its initial binding with heparin sulfate, SARS-CoV-2 then uses another cell surface component, the protein known as the angiotensin converting enzyme, or the ACE2. And this is being used as its doorway into the attacked cell. So the Johns Hopkins Medicine team discovered that when SARS-CoV-2 ties up with heparin sulfate, it prevents factor H from using the sugar molecule to bind with cells. So factor H's normal function is to probably regulate the chemical signals that trigger inflammation and also keep the immune system from harming healthy cells. Now, in order to understand more about this particular research, we have with us Dr. Sitesh Roy joining us live from Mumbai. Many thanks for joining me in this live interaction, Dr. Sitesh. So my first question is, what is factor D all about, doctor?
So factor H and factor D, Deepak, are parts of something called the alternative hemolytic complement pathway, or the alternate component pathway. This complement pathway is critical for the human body to fight off viral and bacterial infections.
Okay.
And in doing so, these proteins play a very important role in either reducing inflammation or enhancing inflammation. With factor H, when the human body is activated or the complement system is activated, there are certain proteins that even healthy human cells carry, which can be attacked by something called the membrane attack complex, or the MAC, that is formed by the complement system to kill or remove the viruses and bacteria. So factor H is that brake which prevents the membrane attack complex from killing normal healthy human cells. Whereas factor D is that you can call accelerator that enhances the attack complex, and if factor H is not able to do its role, then factor D keeps stimulating the membrane attack complex to attack even the healthy human cells, and that's how SARS-CoV-2 and COVID-19 does the degree of damage that it does, is because it lets the inflammation progress unchecked or unhindered. Now, all of these proteins have been known to medical science for a very long time, and we have done a lot of research on it. And certainly down the road in the coming few years, there are even inhibitors of the factor D that can potentially become therapeutically important in a variety of different inflammatory conditions.
So now, doctor, do you think that blocking immune system pathway could probably stop COVID-19 infection? And if so, how can the researchers or the vaccine developers come up with a vaccine which could probably block the pathway? What is the concept behind this particular study?
So the concept behind this study, Deepak, is still one that is a few years away at best, because once we know that SARS-CoV-2 binds to heparin sulfate, which is what is called a glycosaminoglycan, that is present in almost all the cells in our body, smooth muscle cells, which is present in every organ almost, the lung cells, the heart cells. We know that there are ways in which we can then potentially block this interaction. And if the most common application of this entire research that I will tell you is currently being utilized worldwide is when we realize that SARS CoV2 enhances what is called microcoagulation or microclots inside the heart, the brain, the lungs, and causes damage to these organs. We started using heparin. Heparin and low molecular weight heparin have been used for years together to make blood thin in people who've undergone certain surgeries, people who have stents placed in their heart, many different reasons why we have to thin a person's blood. And interestingly, when there is heparin circulating in a person's blood, it also becomes a target to which the SARS CoV2 virus binds. So this now, the heparin molecule becomes like a decoy. And this decoy can distract the virus so that the virus then doesn't attach to live cells and kill them. So while we are not giving heparin at this point of time with the intention of using it as a decoy, we are giving it with the intention of thinning the blood so that a person doesn't get a heart attack or a stroke or doesn't lose their vision or something else due to a complication of the SARS CoV2. Certainly down the road, there can be therapies in which a heparin-like molecule, which does not have any anticoagulant properties, could be used as a decoy for the SARS CoV2 and prevent the virus from causing the havoc and damage that it does. But I don't think that this technology can really be completely utilized to prevent the infection, though there is some thought that there may be a nasal spray or some kind of an inhaler that is developed in the future with molecules that can distract the SARS CoV2 virus or prevent it from binding to the human cells in the respiratory tract by using this very mechanism of heparan sulfate and protein D. And hence we can then prevent the infection. But this is still a conceptualized theory which will require a few years before it will become applicable to human beings. But certainly the potential and the understanding is huge and has immense application for how we recognize and understand this virus and its treatment.
Now, doctor, once this study, realizes, do you think that the course of vaccine development in the future could probably change?
I think vaccines stay in a place where they are because they boost the immune system and keep the person's immune system ready to ward off the virus when it happens to try to enter the body, whether it's through the nose, the eyes, the mucous membranes, whatever it might be. And I think that the vaccine development and vaccine treatment will progress in its own pace and its own way and have its own role. However, understanding the mechanism by which this virus is causing inflammation in the body, is causing the body to not prevent inflammation from progressing, will help us in the treatment of this disease and its complications a lot more. So I think that the drug development for disease treatment and prevention or prevention of complications is one aspect of COVID-19, and developing a vaccine against SARS CoV2 and COVID-19 is another aspect. Both go hand in hand and both are equally important, and you can think of them as corroborating each other rather than one reducing the need for the other.
Right, Dr. Sitesh, many thanks for joining me in this live interaction. Well, there you heard it from Dr. Sitesh. This is just a conceptual theory which is currently in the process of being researched, and the technology to use this and realize this particular theory will probably be developed in the coming years. But until then, all we have to do is wait with bated breath for a vaccine, and also we should always ensure that safety precautions are followed by us and also by people around us. And the only way that we can do that is by spreading the necessary awareness in our localities, in our residential organizations, and also in our residential welfare groups as well. So by promoting awareness of following safety protocols, we could probably ward off COVID-19 at the initial stage itself instead of reaching a place where there is no turning back. So follow all the safety precautionary measures, and that will keep you safe till a vaccine is rolled out by the governments across the world. So if you guys have liked this piece of information that I've shared with you all today, please do drop in your comments, and also like, share and subscribe to News9 on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram and Twitter. Many thanks for joining us.